Hi there, I'm Gloria Makarenko. Well, here we are in a circuit-breaking long weekend after a very long year. Well, happy Easter and joyous Passover to those celebrating. This is Our Vancouver. Coming up, keeping lakes clean by diving for garbage all over BC. And adaptation is everything. Chef Laura Arcangeli shows us what her business looks like a year into the pandemic. But first, more families and couples in BC are finding out what it's like to eat farm-fresh eggs from their own backyard. Well, it is Easter weekend, and many of you maybe have colored eggs, maybe some chocolate chicks in your homes. And more people in BC are finding out what it's like to have real hens and eggs through a unique rental program. Marie McGivern is a Rent the Chicken farmer just outside of Kamloops. Marie, hello there.
Hi, how are you, Gloria?
I am doing well. So who do you have with you there today?
So it's myself and two ladies are in this cage right now. So Henny and Penny, plus various other chickens. Our dog Zeus, and Homestead Ron is behind the phone.
Okay, you've got the full. You're in very good company, I see there. So, what exactly do people do when they rent the chicken? What do they get?
So our program is approximately 6 months long, and so in the spring, starting end of April into May, we come to your yard with a chicken tractor, just like this, with 2 to 4 hens, depending on what you choose and where you're located. A bag of feed, basically one per chicken. Some scratch, which is like a treat for them. Some oyster shells, and then some other treats that we try to provide while we have stock of chubby freeze-dried mealworms. And we come to your location with everything that you need to rent these chickens for the spring through fall, so that you have farm fresh eggs in your own backyard.
I love that idea. Now, you have another program to hatch a chicken. What happens there?
Yes. So Hatch the Chicken is a 5-week rental program, and we provide a little incubator that's all automated, a cage for the chicks to be in when they hatch, a little heat plate that acts like the mama hen that the chicks go underneath and stay warm, a book, and then, of course, the feed and the water dish and the food dishes, everything that you need for that program. And so the fertilized eggs are in the incubator for 21 days, and it counts down that entire time. And then after 21 days, they start to hatch. And then the remaining 2 weeks, you get to have little baby peepers in a cage in your home or school, or we have them in senior centers. Libraries are popular.
And then, of course, it's so cool. Like, just how popular are you finding it, especially during the pandemic?
It's been very popular. Our Rent the Chicken last year, we had, unfortunately, 22 families that we could not provide Rent the Chicken packages to. And we built 18 new coops, and we scrounged chickens wherever we could find them, because, of course, they need to be born last fall, so they're laying beginning in April and May. So that we did what we could, but we couldn't provide the rental packages to 22 families. And this year, I think we're starting on the same sort of. That's Olaf.
The rooster wants in on the action today.
Yes, this is Olaf, and Olaf is imprinted on people. So he was a hatch chick in the Hatch the Chicken program, and so people are his family, and he particularly likes me. No, we don't rent roosters. They're only at our farm.
I see. Oh, Olaf looks like a real character. That is so cool.
He is.
Who are your clients? Who is renting chickens and hatching chicks?
So the rental, it varies, but probably our two main clients are families with young children that really want to provide them with a sense of responsibility, learning the compassion of how to take care of an animal. And then, of course, connecting them with their food, and you can't get fresher than what's, hatched in your own backyard. Then the other kind of end of the spectrum is often retired folk or people who are maybe empty nesters and they might be avid gardeners or just really enjoy spending time outside. And they just love having the chickens in their yard, in their garden.
I love it. And what do you think the draw is? So they love having the chickens around, but I mean, what kind of feedback do you get from people who have done this?
They love it. Our clients often adopt at the end of their rental. So it's a great way to try it out, test drive a chicken, and then they just grow to love their chickens so much that they decide to keep them. And we have some clients who rent every year because over the winter, chickens don't lay typically unless you give them artificial light, which we don't. You have to worry about eggs freezing, then you have to worry about the water freezing and going out in the dead of winter to take care of them. So a lot of people are quite happy to return their chickens to us in the fall. Sometimes they have us keep their chickens over winter, and so we put little bracelets on them so they can have the same chickens back the next year.
Who needs a television set or any screen time when you've got chickens in your midst, huh?
Absolutely. We also have senior centers that rent chickens or also hatch chickens, and those experiences are fantastic for our elders. And in those communities where they can have the chickens in their sort of courtyard, they are exceptionally popular. And I'm not popular when we go back to pick them up in the fall.
Oh,
I
see.
miss them a lot.
Now, Marie, are there any caveats here, like people that maybe this wouldn't work for, or maybe the downside to having chickens in your backyard?
Well, I guess it's like everyone or every pet or animal that you have to take care of them. So if you're going to be away a lot, if you can't, often you can get your neighbors to take care of them because the care required for chickens in this circumstance is quite minimal. You feed and water them every day, collect their eggs, and pick the coop up from the handle end. And there's wheels, so you just move it forward the size of the coop and they get fresh grass every day. So if you're not going to be around a lot, then you're not going to enjoy the benefits of having them. But other than that, as long as your particular municipality allows chickens, we will say that most of the municipalities that we've dealt with are complaint-based. So if no one complains, they're okay with it. Many municipalities are now allowing chickens because they are understanding the benefits of people having a few backyard hens.
Well, it certainly sounds like it's working out for you, Marie, for you, for Henny and Penny, for Olaf, for the whole crew there. So nice to talk to you today. Thank you.
You bet. Thanks so much.
Hi, I'm Echo on Granville Island, and this is our Vancouver.
All right, it's time for one of our favorite features. This is where we get to showcase a number of the photographs sent in by you, our audience. Well, it certainly is blossom time. Christine Nanji was walking in the Mountain View Cemetery area when she took this one. Great image, Christine. Thank you so much. And Tian Tian was out walking in New Westminster when the sun was shining bright. So lovely. Thank you. And finally, David Wayne Stevens was out in Charleston Park when these puppies were out frolicking. There's so much action and water in that one. David Wayne, thank you so much. And do send us more. It's easy. You just email them to bcphotos@cbc.ca. That's bcphotos@cbc.ca. Now, the many beautiful lakes in BC have certainly been a draw for photographers, but how much do we actually think about what lies beneath the surface? Well, it turns out most of our lakes have sunglasses and cell phones and cans on the bottom. And there's a good chance a volunteer from Divers for Cleaner Lakes and Oceans has found them. Our GP Mendoza met them on their latest dive just to see what they pulled up.
Sad to say, we actually have not seen a clean lake. Every lake has garbage in it. Some a lot more than others, but pretty much every lake has some kind of contamination. We've been doing this since 2013. we're up to just around 35,000 pounds of garbage. Our best guess is we're around 45,000 beer cans we've removed. So right now we're coming up to the summer season, and this dock will be filled with 50 kids drinking. Next season when we come back, there will be another 400 beer cans underneath again. So it's never really clean. Cell phones, speakers, things that people don't intend to drop in the water, of course. We do find a lot of GoPros, and we try to return those. I think we're actually 99% successful in returning GoPros because you have the footage on them, we can identify them. If you brought it here, take the opportunity and make the effort and take the garbage out, and maybe take out a little bit more than what you brought in the first place.
So we in North America do have a lot of choice when it comes to consumer goods, right? But not everyone sees things that they are looking for. People who need to wear prosthetics have limited choices, for example, and that's where two innovative designers saw a need and filled the gap. In this CBC Creator Network film, we take you to Victoria and introduce you to the designers and clients of Al-El's design studio.
I was scared when I got my amputation. I didn't know what my life was going to be like. I thought I was going to have to hide it or wear silicone leg covers that make it look more realistic. But I didn't want that for myself. I didn't want to hide the fact that I had an amputation. I wanted to put it out there in a way that made me feel good without making it too obvious, but not hiding it.
I think it's ultimately people are put in a difficult spot when they don't have choice in every kind of realm of their life. And I think that fundamentally from the beginning of the studio, we just want to create options for people because there are no options.
We wanted to allow people to make the choices on their own because most people are telling them what to do with their bodies. You're gonna wear this foot, you're gonna wear this leg, this is gonna work for you, there's no other options. We wanted people to be able to shop like they would shoes.
There's all these different companies, there's all these different styles. Some of them are like hiking boots, some are like wildly impractical heels, and people buy them because it suits them, it suits what they're doing, and that's the point. To give people choice, it'll help them do what they want to do and feel how they want to feel.
You know, obviously you want to look cool or, together, right? And obviously having a medical device wasn't going to do that for me. I was talking a lot with my prosthetist about options, and he mentioned to me about this brand new little startup company that was, making these prosthetic covers. For me, immediately, I was just like, wow, this is really cool. Of course I have to have this because this is gonna make it look less like a medical device. So, purchased that, wore it for a while, loved it, so many compliments everywhere I went. So immediately with that, it changed it for me from people looking at me saying, oh, the poor bugger, he's lost his leg, to saying, hey, what's that? Like, that looks really cool.
I think a lot of times the people in the medical world are dealing so technically that they forget about when people leave the clinic and when people leave the hospital, that they're interacting with their friends. They're going and hanging out and exchanging clothes with their sisters. People aren't thinking of the social implications of what these devices mean in a daily life outside the clinic. And I think that's a perspective that designers and artists naturally do.
to be able to wear art on yourself, to feel like a piece of art yourself is just the best feeling in the world. I feel like I can just go out there and people are looking at me and they're not looking at me and saying, you know, this is an amputee. They're looking at me and being like, oh my God, like, is this girl a model? Like, what's going on? They get excited about it. You know, even though it's just a cover, it doesn't do anything but make you look good. It gives you more to your life. I don't know how. I don't know why they managed to, as two able-bodied people, to create this company that made my group of people, you know, amputees, feel so special and out there in such a positive way.
Coming up, Johanna Wagstaffe offers her look into what weather our spring will bring.
Welcome to spring in Canada, the season where you can get hit with a blizzard, view the cherry blossoms, anxiously await water levels, and wonder when it's safe to plant, all in one day sometimes. As far as what clues the atmosphere has in store for us for the season ahead, we do have a few. Let me start off with a look at Environment Canada's seasonal outlook. Generally, the trend is cooler than normal for the West Coast and warmer than normal for most of Eastern Canada. There's a higher probability of higher than normal temps on average for the upper Great Lakes and Atlantic Canada, you can see with the darker reds, and a better shot at cooler than normal temps for coastal and northern BC with the darker blues. One of the big drivers is the status of the equatorial Pacific waters, aka El Nino and La Nina. It took a while for La Nina to kick in this winter, but when it did, it means cooler than normal temperatures for Western Canada, a trend that's likely to stick around at least through till April before conditions return to neutral. Now, that's not to say we won't get hot spells or cold spells, but this is the forecast for the overall average. And that's compared to seasonals from 1981 to 2010. And we know that the baseline has already shifted due to climate change. This would look very different if we were comparing our seasonals from, say, the 50s or 60s. A delayed start to the spring in the West could mean a delayed start to the wildfire season. But as we know, that can turn on a dime when summer heat kicks in. And although the West is dealing with at or above seasonal snowpack, that doesn't always translate to the kind of spring runoff we might see. Individual systems and quick warm-ups play a bigger role. All eyes will also be on the prairie drought situation because, speaking of precip, that's a much harder variable to forecast than temperature that far out. There are some hints at continued dry conditions for the prairies, a wetter spring for the south coast of BC, and a drier outlook for Atlantic Canada. And Ontario and Quebec are crossing their fingers that a normal outlook for precip will mean a lower flood risk. But again, these things can change quickly. Looking beyond spring, our long-range climate models show a trend towards above seasonal temperatures for most of the country as we head into summer. But stay tuned as our medium-range clues come into focus. And now, your Science Smart. If you have a science question on your mind, send me a tweet and I'll try to get it answered.
Johanna, thank you so much. Well, you are watching Our Vancouver. I'm Gloria Makarenko. Well, the pandemic has certainly changed our lives, and especially the lives of people in the restaurant and catering business. Many, though, have found ways to adapt. And case in point, Laura Arcangeli has been a chef and caterer for decades, and she is in her kitchen right now. Laura, hello there.
Hi, Gloria. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
So you're not catering to large events, but you did send over this beautiful basket of interesting ingredients. Just tell us, what was your idea when you put this together?
Well, my idea was I wanted to bring gourmet products into everyone's kitchen, since everyone is at home and cooking or doing takeout and maybe getting sick of it. And this is really to up everyone's game in the kitchen by just really simple products that you can add in a very versatile way to make your food delicious.
Okay, so let's dive right in. I mean, how did you decide what to put into your gift baskets?
I kind of wanted to have a little bit of everything. So some spices, some sweet and savory. And so I developed a line of the spice blends, which there's 14 of them. And then I came up with teas and some simple syrups, which these items are all meant to use on sweet things or savory things. So you can put this on ice cream, or you could use it as a glaze over chicken.
Oh, I like that idea. Okay, I think I have some of that simple syrup here as well. So why don't you take us through sort of an example of something you could put together with the products in the basket, some of the spice mixes.
For sure. So this is called Hot Chicks, and it's a blend of spices. So rather than going in your cupboard and, pulling out 5 or 6 or 7 different spices, this has them all together. So it's garlic powder, cumin, coriander, smoked paprika, salt, and pepper. And so basically, you can just open up the packet and add this to whatever. I've got some lovely vegetables here, and we're just going to add some of that to the vegetables. And there's recipes on the back of the boxes for each of these, and it will take you to 4 or 5 different, one is a carb, one is a salad dressing, one is a chicken or fish. So they really, really are versatile.
Okay, can you pick up the vegetables for us so we can take a peek? They're kind of hiding behind your packages there.
Here, I was going to plate them.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And yes, so the vegetables, we've got that, and we've
So then you would roast them, you would sprinkle them on the vegetables and then throw it in the oven, that kind of thing? Or is that an afterward spice?
This is an afterward spice or a before spice. So with the vegetables, I did it afterward. With the chicken, what I did was mix it with a little bit of oil, add the spice, and then cook it so that the flavors really infuse into it.
Okay, so if someone were to order these kinds of products, is it sort of specific, they can decide which ones they want, or do you just send a selection?
Well, there's baskets that have a selection already picked out, and some of them are individual. Like the spices, we'll do a pack of 4, a pack of 8, or a package of 12. The simple syrups, we are starting to get our products out in stores right now. So hopefully in the near future, you'll be able to get them at your favorite store.
Oh, well, just how competitive is this market right now? I mean, a lot of chefs and caterers are pivoting. So how do you make your product stand out?
Well, I guess by unique labeling and just having a whimsical kind of approach to it. These times were really hard for a lot of people, and I wanted to just bring sort of cheer and fun. So coming up with great names like this simple syrup, it's called Gold Digger, and it's actually got flecks of gold in it. Hot mess chocolate, and just making things that are really simple but taste great.
Well, enjoy your Easter weekend, Laura, and thank you so much for taking us through your basket of goodies today.
Thank you so much for having me on your show, Gloria.
I'm Graham Witt at Parallel 49 Brewing, and you're watching Our Vancouver.
If you're seeking entertainment, there are many choices online. The Chan Center presents UBC music professor and performer Marina Thibault and her violin. She is a Juno Award-winning composer, and her virtual concert is April 9th. And if you're looking for a bit of an Easter outing, you can take your children to Capilano Mall in North Vancouver for a virtual Easter egg hunt using your smartphone. That runs through April 5th.
Hey, Grant Lawrence from CBC Music here to celebrate with you a pretty major rock-iversary in Canadian music. It was 30 years ago this year that 4 young dudes got together in Halifax to form a band that has had a profound effect on Canadian music pretty much ever since. Yes, I'm talking about these guys.
Hey, you! We've been around for a while. If you'll admit you were wrong, then we'll admit that we're right. You take the heart of the traveling band. You'll never understand that all they know is a yellow line. Yes. And the joke is when you woke in
From their classic 1998 album, Navy Blues, that is Sloan with their hit single, Money City Maniacs, which still very much rocks and is still playing on a radio station somewhere in Canada right now. Sloan is, and remarkably always has been, Andrew Scott on drums, Jay Ferguson on guitar, Chris Murphy on bass, and Patrick Pentland on guitar. They all sing, they all write. You could call them Canada's Beatles if you like. Their first show ever was on February 8th, 1991 at the NASCAD University cafeteria in Halifax. And on the anniversary of that day earlier this year, Sloan posted a clip from that performance.
Ladies and gentlemen, Sloan!
A fuzzy piece of Canadian rock history right there. That is Sloan from their first show ever back in 1991. And amazingly, they opened that premiere gig with the song that would become their first hit and a tune that's beloved to this day.
I was overwhelmed and I'm sure of that one, 'cause I learned it back in grade school when I was young. She said you was funny, I said you are funny. She said thank you and I said never mind. And she rolled her eyes, her beautiful eyes.
Going back to 1992, that was Sloan with another Canadian rock classic, Underwhelmed from Smeared, the band's first album. Ever since, Sloan has been a positive musical force, not only in Halifax and across Canada, but in many countries like Japan, Australia, and England, where they hold cult status. Now, since their formation 30 years ago, Sloan has never really achieved what you would call superstar status anywhere, but they have a career. 12 albums to their credit, 5 of which went gold, and many, many memorable hit singles.
One thing I know about the rest of my life, I know that I'll be living it in Canada. I know I said I'll share the rest of my days, but I was only going through a phase. Am I gonna settle down? Am I gonna be someone that has to take the rest of my life? Settle down, then I guess you got me lying to myself.
There's Sloan with The Rest of My Life from 2003, and it's amazing to think that that was almost 20 years ago. But it's clear that on this 30th anniversary of this beloved Canadian band, Sloan's legacy will be with us for a long time to come, or in other words, the rest of our lives. And yes, they are still deeply adored, as you can see for yourself.
It's not the band I hate, it's their fans. 3 cans of water perverts me, coax me, cajole me.
That's Chris Murphy and Jay Ferguson from Sloan singing Coax Me with Toronto collective Choir, Choir, Choir in the before times. Can't wait to get back into a packed room and do stuff like that again. During the pandemic, Chris and Patrick from Sloan are doing virtual solo shows through Side Door Access. They've launched a Murder Records podcast, and Chris Murphy just released another album by his side project, Tons. Any and all songs by Sloan are the tunes that you need to add to your playlist for this week. Happy 30th anniversary to Sloan from everyone here at the CBC. Thank you for the music. I'm Grant Lawrence. Check in with you again next week.
And coming up, a teen from Terrace battles high anxiety by learning her Indigenous language during the pandemic.
Awesome.
Hi, you are watching Our Vancouver. I'm Gloria Makarenko. Well, it certainly has been a long year for our province's young people especially. You know, at times in the pandemic, 12-year-old Lily from Terrace has felt kind of a churning feeling in her stomach from anxiety overload. So late last year, she decided to ask her great-grandmother to help her learn Wet'suwet'en and find out more about her culture. Just watch as she tells us how it felt to learn her language.
Hadi, Saisozi Lily. I'm Lily Bueller, I'm 12 and I'm from Terrace, BC. I'm with Wet'suwet'en, small frog, and I get it from my dad's side. In school, we had a presentation to do about ancestry, and I started to realize that maybe I should try to get out to my family more, and so I did get the chance to meet up with my great-grandma. I asked her all these questions, kind of like an interview. We started talking about her background as an Indigenous woman, and I started to realize that I really wanted to be a part of that. I wanted to learn more about my language and traditions, and she sat there looking at me and she said that would be amazing and she would be honored to pass down the language to me.
Hadi,
Soensen,
Ma, Soetsen.
What's the most important word in Wet'suwet'en?
Wokos. Good.
What does it mean?
Respect.
Brothers, what?
She has learned so much in 15 minutes.
Wow. You should have regular sessions. You guys could do FaceTime sessions.
We're gonna do it on Mondays.
Nice.
5 o'clock. She's gonna be fluent speaker like her Oma.
Yeah.
Great Oma.
Awesome.
She told me she wants to do it.
She spoke to my mom and said, if you were the one to ask if you could teach me, she would say no, because it would have to come from the heart of me. I would have to be the one to ask. I would have to want to have the motivation, the passion to learn. We said that we were going to start Zoom classes once a week, and I wasn't sure how it was going to be. I thought that it would just be between myself and my great Omi, but we started including other family members, so I got to connect with them, my cousins, and now every week we'd get on and we'd say, hello, Hadi. It's really a great opportunity every week to get to see my family members. Once we started the lessons, I started to get more of an idea and I started to understand it more. And now I'm able to fully introduce myself, and we're learning even more words every week. I can even introduce myself with my parents' name, so I could say, Sai Danny Bestai? Sorry, that one I'm still working on, but that would be saying that I am Danny's daughter, so that's my dad's name. Greeting someone, so you'd say Hadi Soensen, that would be how are you? Hi. And you would say Hadi Soessen, which would be I'm doing good. Last week we learned some skating words like hockey. I'm still practicing those, but there was like Nazu, where they are skating Slum, which would be loose ice, so ice cubes. And then there'd be Tun, which was just a big flat surface of ice, like covering the river. It's started to give me more confidence. I've been able to just sit down and think about anything else, and then I would just sit and practice those words over and over again, and I would get a rush of like a happy feeling and confidence, and I would feel like the anxiety melt away. So learning my language did probably help with anxiety. I feel very proud. and happy that I'm able to communicate with my family in our language and learn proper traditions and my culture.
Well, another BC young person is spending time on his identity. Jeremy Ratt is of mixed background. His mother is Woods Cree. His father is Euro-Canadian. And at the age of 19, Jeremy began doing the work on discovering exactly who he is. And that journey is chronicled in a 5-part CBC-BC podcast called Pieces.
My name is Jeremy Ratt, and I am mixed. My mother is Indigenous, and I have a white father. This makes me a person of mixed race. 2 pieces of me split right down the middle. And it is this mixed background that defines me. I was white passing for most of my childhood, and I spent most of that time subconsciously embracing that. Despite a supportive family, I felt like my lighter skin distanced me from embracing the Indigenous side of myself. I didn't think I was Indigenous enough to take that pride in my roots. I moved around growing up, but almost every summer and Christmas vacation, I'd stay at my grandmother's house in Pelican Narrows. This was the reserve of my mother's family, and every time I was there, I was loved, but it was very clear to the other residents of that community that I wasn't from there. Apitoskan was a word I'd always heard when it came to the definition of mixed Indigenous peoples. In Woodland Cree, it means half-breed as well as Métis. When I hit middle school, I was dealing with a lot more than the expected awkward preteen years. My skin darkened, my hair darkened, and the Indigenous side of me became more visible. I was white passing no more. This made me feel more confused, more lost, and as my worldview expanded and I became more aware of the history of racism against Indigenous peoples in Canada, I started to feel not only distant, but also ashamed of being Indigenous. I knew I couldn't live like this. I had to break free of this identity fog, and this is what the CBC podcast Pieces, which I host, is all about. It's my journey to understand, educate, and love myself. I wish I could tell that younger Jeremy that he is Indigenous enough, he is human enough, and he is more than enough to be loved, and that's everything.
Coming up, creating space for more women to work in the microbrew industry. Welcome back to Our Vancouver. I'm Gloria Makarenko. Now, when it comes to the city's beloved microbreweries, men make up the bulk of the employees. But a North Vancouver business is quite literally brewing up a solution to get more women into the industry. Gordon Lovren introduces us to the team at Black Kettle Brewing.
So I did a degree in chemistry from the University of Victoria, and that's when I really developed my love of beer. So I started analyzing it, drinking it, and then I started home brewing because I really loved all sides of it, and brewing can be a very scientific process, so the scientist in me really enjoyed it. So that's how you get water in there. So that's what it'll be doing once we get going. For me, this just kind of brings the mash tun to the right temperature and gives it a little rinse in case you missed something before. People have been brewing since ancient China and Egypt. The most modern brew processes come from Germany. There's 500-year-old breweries there, started by monks, and that's when the brew process started getting written down. So low alcohol is usually 3.5%. That's where you get your light beers. No one really wants to drink anything below 3.5%. And then legally you can go up to 11.9% in Canada. And those are your barley wines, your triples, your triple IPAs. We haven't made one here. And I'm a member of the Pink Boot Society, which is a women's group for brewing that they promote women in beer through scholarships and programs. They do a blend of Pink Boots hops, and so all the proceeds go to the Pink Boots from that. Our water volume was 750 liters, so we're all good. We hit all the specs we wanted. And yeah, so if you're interested, reach out. There are plenty of women and brewing societies in both BC and Ontario and around Canada to encourage you. Even just something as learning a basic intro to beer course and learning a little bit more if you're a server, or up to learning the full brewmaster program. Cheers.
Now, one of Vancouver's most loved pastimes has been on hold. Karaoke bars are prohibited under BC's public health orders, of course, but true fans just may be able to keep doing what they love safely at home. And we know there are many houses that are already set up for that. Back in the year 2000, Nielsen research discovered 37% of Asian Canadian households owned karaoke machines. Here's Sudha Krishna with a story from our archives.
That's all I wanted, something special, something sacred in your eyes.
It's nice to just bellow out, just let it all out.
To be warm and naked, and at my side, and more, much more than this, I didn't mind.
Karaoke is basically for people to socialize.
For you.
People are always thinking, oh, I want to be a star, I want to do this, I want to do that, you know, that kind of celebrity thing, and this gives them a chance to kind of play that role.
That celebrity thing, socialize, just singing. Those are some of the reasons why karaoke has a universal appeal. But it also has a specific appeal as well to the Lower Mainland's Asian community.
It's all brand new.
There are a lot of very current music, and it's a huge variety, whether it's Chinese or Japanese or English.
It's a good way to practice your singing.
Practice so you can belt it out when you hit a karaoke nightclub.
You can actually pick up a song and it's only got the words on the screen and you're singing it. It's like nobody else.
CBC Vancouver is so lucky to have award-winning photographer Ben Nelms on staff. Here are a few images of the week we had, captured in only the way Ben can. And that's all for our Vancouver for this week. I hope you'll join me weekday afternoons on CBC Radio 1 for On the Coast. Talk then, bye-bye.